know a lot of you have probably grown up with 90s cartoons, or you grew up in the early 2000s and remember cartoons on reruns. A lot of people normally talk about the mainline cartoons such as Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, but no one ever really talks about the cartoons that were from another company called Nelvana, a Canadian company that made most of the cartoons that we watched as kids, such as Little Bear, Franklin, and others. However, there is a cartoon series from the late 80s and early 90s based upon a beloved series of books featuring a really cute elephant, his wife, and a whole cast of colorful animal characters. But this episode I revisited recently, however, it was not what I expected. Babar the Elephant is the name of the cartoon series based upon a French children's book series from the 1930s that features a young elephant whose mother tragically dies in the jungle. He escapes the jungle and he lives in the city after being taken care of by an old woman. Nelvana made many cartoons based upon beloved French and British children's books such as Paddington, Spirou, Blake and Mortimer, which is really boss, by the way. It's a really cool show. Ulrich. And my all-time favorite, Tintin, which I'll be covering later on. This episode in particular that I watched from the very first season of the cartoon series, episode 5, called Babar's Triumph, where Babar tells the story of his youth as he tried to bring the political parties and safety of the animal kingdom together to decide how to protect the forest from the oncoming threats and future events.
Hopefully not, Alexander. You see, the Jungle Federation is not about fighting, but getting along. I know it sounds impossible, but there's a good reason we all try to make the effort at least once each year.
Most of the animals decide against him out of fear, as the Rhino King Retaxis decides that Babar is joking about his experiences in the human world, such as the city, as he talks about people actually hunting animals and skinning them and making them into rugs and suitcases.
And rhino horns are the biggest trophies of all. I know. I've been to the city. I've seen all these things.
Later, the hunter guy actually shows up, and he starts being extremely difficult, having no filter whatsoever, not even to talk civilly to Babar like he actually intended to. The hunter's team attacks the turtles. No, not the band. And tries to harm other wildlife as they break out the firearms and start pelting the animals as they're on the run for their lives. They kidnap the Rhino King and trap him in a cage. Babar comes to rescue him like a good person, but this guy is so stubborn that he wants none of that stuff from the little elephant boy. You know, I was pretty convinced that this was going to be a happy ending, but halfway through the episode, I kind of noticed that the hunter and his team were eventually dumping this substance into the jungle, and I immediately went, oh my god. And at first I thought, this is a kid's cartoon, they're not going to do this. And then all of a sudden, my expectations were blown out of the water. The animals work together in unison, which is what Babar originally intended in the beginning of the episode. He wanted to see some teamwork with the other kingdoms, but the hunter still tries to kill the animals. Like, guy, give it a rest. What the heck is your problem? So everything was pretty much done until the fire actually redirected itself and came right back at the camp that they built in the middle of the clearing. I did not expect this at all. It completely shocked me because you just see the hunter. And he's like screaming and stuff, and he's just so mad at the situation.
I'll destroy them all!
That is super intense, and something I seriously did not expect from a cute children's cartoon. He didn't come back like most kids' villains do, or like sometimes kids' villains in TV shows learn a lesson or something, but the guy actually dies. I immediately thought to myself, and this was the incentive I had, to make a review of this episode and talk to you guys about this. I don't think there's many episodes in the TV series that I can tell that have really intense scenes like this. No, I have not watched the whole Babar TV series, so I might take a look at it later, but it might be a situation like Tintin, where the cartoons were super boss and super tense in the first season, and then when the second season came, they kind of watered it down a little bit for a children's audience, and then by the third season, they brought it back with some extremely dark stuff, so I don't really know. I don't know if it follows the same suit for the cartoons since it's more of a soft art style, but you never know. This surprised me. Babar the Elephant is a timeless story, and boy, I was shocked with this episode. You know, I just saw it on Tubi and I was like, why not? I think we were spoiled in the 90s and early 2000s. So this is my first SunnyG review of a TV episode, movie, or whatnot. I definitely will be making more. You're free to always suggest things, and I hope I opened you guys up to a lost universe of underrated cartoons. See you in the next one.